Hola, Latinos in Michigan. This is Liliana Ospina. Today I have my son here and a very special guest. 10 years ago, my son had a reconstructive surgery in Angeles. And today we are interviewing Dr. Lewin. She did the surgery. She changed our lives. And I wanted to do something special because I can't believe it's been 10 years since we flew from Detroit to Los Angeles to have the surgery, and our life has changed, and many other people, many families' life has changed thanks to Dr. Sheryl Lewin. So, Dr. Sheryl Lewin, like I was talking about, 10 years ago, I I remember it's like, I mean, it's so much emotions because when Roman was born, my ultrasounds were normal, and after 24 hours of labor and an emergency C-section, they pulled Roman. He wasn't moving. He was purple, and then my husband comes. Something is wrong with his ear, and I'll never forget. I was wondering what is wrong with his ear, and then hours later, some doctors came. Your son failed the hearing test. He has microtia, and I was like, "What is microtia?" And then the journey began. Like the fear, the everything. I was so scared about what was gonna be the future of my son, and people are gonna bully him. Or I was terrified, and I remember one day a I used to work for a newspaper in Grand Rapids called El Vocero Hispano, and I used to write news about health and everything related to life, and stuff like that. And I saw a picture of a little kid, and that's how I found you. It was a
Oh,
picture of a little kid with microtia, and I remember seeing that, and in the posting, they was talking about the surgery as early as 3 years old, because when Roman was born, they told us that we had to wait until he was like 12, 10 or 12, to get the surgery with the cartilage from the ribs. And I saw you with the med port and the reconstructive. So I had to call. I remember calling, and a couple of days later, we have a conference call, and then we start planning. It was like a few months of planning until we flew to Los Angeles and meet you. And I remember that fly, and when we met you, and when we took Roman to the hospital in Los Angeles, and during the surgery, it was 9 hours. It was the longest 9 hours of my life. I
I'm
remember
sure.
like praying, that my whole family in Colombia was praying, and you will send me pictures of him and updates. And then we came to Michigan and did the everything that you told us to keep that ear perfect. And thanks God we never had an issue. His ear healed perfect. We never, because some people the stitches break or something happened. I
Yeah.
was so careful cleaning that ear with the peroxide and making sure that everything was good. And I can't believe it's been 10 years. He's gonna be 13 in a few weeks, and he's my blessing, and he is a testimony, because I tell you what, I wrote an article about the experience I had,
Yes.
and they published it in some in magazine, in one in Miami and others, and they translated, and I had people call me from Bolivia, from Argentina, from Mexico, and I always refer them to you, and I share the experience because they seen the videos too, you
Yeah.
know, of what you did. But I'm gonna stop talking because I wanna interview you. This is about the miracle you did in our lives, and the miracles you're done to in the lives of many, many families through your nonprofit, also miracles, and to the work you do.
Well, thank you very much. I can't believe it's been 10 years, and look a big young man Roman has grown up into, and I'm very happy and pleased that we were able to reconstruct his ear when he was so young. Because if you had had the rib, like he would have gone all these years without having an ear and having to deal with kind of the psychological repercussions of growing up without that, which is hard on kids, I'm sure. But we have changed over these last 10 years a little bit. So we require a bigger flap, and so we do the surgery a little bit older at now 5 years of age. But
really?
yeah, so it's changed a little bit over the years, and kind of we're able to now mirror the other ear. So if on their one big ear, we can take a special scan and create an implant that's a mirror image. So we weren't able to do that back in the day. We used a different type of technique for the implant. But so progress continues to march forward, which is really exciting to see that as well.
So why did you change the age? Because you were saying it's more skin. Because I remember you removed the skin from. He has a show me the scar. He has a scar. It healed really good. It's over here when you remove the skin from here to put it in this part of the ear.
So it's not so much about the skin. The new implants, because they're three-dimensional and they look really just like the opposite ear, it's more complicated form than the older implants. So it takes a bigger flap to cover the ear.
Oh.
So we wait for the head to grow a little bit bigger, and then the flap will be bigger. That flap comes from underneath your scalp, and you basically with the low incision, you take it out and wrap the ear implant. So that's why we're waiting until the kids are a little bigger so that we can get a bigger flap to cover the implant.
So Roman, I have never asked you this, but what is like to have the ear? Like, how do you feel it?
I mean, I feel like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, it's like a part of me. Like, it's like veins are in there. Like I can feel every part of it. It's like, wow, how do they do that?
How'd she do that?
Yeah.
That's cool. And you're absolutely right, because there's arteries, veins, and even little baby nerves were in that flap. And so that's why when you touch the skin here, you can feel it. You can actually feel it, even though the skin came from your arm or your tummy or wherever that skin came from. So that's our whole goal, is to have it feel like part of your body. And like as though you had it. You probably don't really remember too much of life without that ear.
No. Do you remember life without your ear? Your Lewin ear? No. No. You had changed so many lives. The lady was very depressed because her baby was born, with Microtia, and she saw the video and she saw your interview and she wanted to know how to contact you. I gave her the information. So I think that video has been like a testimony for many moms, because I've been through that. You expecting the pregnancy, everything is gonna be perfect, and it turned out that your baby has this condition, and you are scared about what the future is gonna be like for a kid with Microtia, especially in countries like Bolivia, Colombia.
Well, it's rare that anybody knows until the baby's born. Most people don't know, both doctors or parents, that there's anything, different until the baby's born. And then even after the baby's born, a lot of doctors aren't very familiar with the condition to understand what it's called and consequences are and what the treatment is. And as technology is improving, even the hearing component has improved significantly. In 2020, in the United States, they released the Ossia, which is sort of replaced the Baja, which was the previous bone conductive hearing aid. But this new hearing aid, which just connects with a little magnet, has really revolutionized hearing for these kids as well, and sort of, gotten bigger improvements and their ability to hear much better than what we were doing before.
Roman has the punto. They did three
Yeah,
surgeries in University of Michigan. The first surgery they put like the implant, but now he showed me in this part he's not wearing the hearing aid right now, but he has the screw,
yeah,
and what he does is he just plug it in. He
right.
plug it in and with
I
the
attach it.
you thought oh sorry
Yes,
you
I
attach it.
attach it in, and like when I plug it in, attach it,
yes,
I can just feel the difference. Like it's so weird because like at that second you can hear like more clearly. It's
yeah.
like wow, how
No,
they can do that.
it's
And
really,
it's crazy how it's connected to my like skull, so I can hear.
yes.
It's like wow.
I know it's pretty amazing, and I'm really really proud of you for taking such good care of both your ear and your hearing aid. It shows a lot of responsibility for such a young man, and it's true. It's not like a normal, ear, as they say, normal, because you do always be a little bit careful. But the nice thing is you can run around, you can play sports, it doesn't have to stop you from doing anything. Just like Microtia, whether you get it reconstructed or not, it doesn't have to stop you from doing anything you want to do in life. So I think that's the important lesson is, there are treatments, and if you want them, they're accessible, and there's, several options. But really, today, even today in these 10 years, there's been quite a lot of advancements, which is exciting for me to see in my career.
And you know what's also interesting about him and the other kids with Microtia is the ability they had for music. He plays the
100%.
piano. He plays songs by hearing them. It's
Yeah.
like he doesn't even I've been taking him into piano since he was 5. But he listened to a song and he said, "Mom, mom," and he started playing it. Like, and it's amazing. You're gonna be in Chicago, right?
Yes.
So when is the Miracles, Doctor?
August 9th, we're having a conference over that weekend. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll be holding informational sessions followed by individual examinations and consultations with each child. And we're even bringing our scanner so that we can do 3D scans of your ear so that we'll be able to get the implant as a direct mirror image of the other side. And then we'll have vendors there as well, and representatives from the implant company and the surgery center, and Ossia, which is the hearing aid. Cochlear does the hearing aid portion, so we can really give patients an idea of sort of the whole type of treatment realm for this condition. And the other fun is that there'll be 10 patients that we've operated on in the past that are there as a patient panel, because like you and Roman, they want to kind of give back to families. And so they will be there answering questions and allowing people to touch their ear and see the reconstruction. So that's another nice way to bring all these patients together.
How do you feel, Roman? Some kids that had your condition, they are very like shy because they don't. How do you feel about that?
Fine, like it never bothers me. The only problem is I just don't hear that well. But that's it. Like I don't think of myself as like no, I'm an outcast or something.
You are.
Like
He has like I mean, and
He
I
has
think that
confidence. I can.
yes, he has the confidence that I never had. That kid, he goes dancing alone. He's, oh my God, I look at him and I'm just amazed. And I think that has a lot to do with my husband because I'm gonna be honest with you. When he was born, I was so scared of whatever people were gonna judge him, and I wanted to cover his ear with his hair. And my husband told me, "No, you're not covering his ear. He's fine the way it is." He cut the short hair, and he said his condition doesn't define him. He's what it is, and we love him. And it's been like that all his life. We never. as a Latina, as part of my culture, it's like, oh, people are gonna judge me. And I had many Latina moms call me in the past telling me I don't want people to criticize me, so I'm trying to cover the ear. And the first thing I tell them is I share my experience. I know how you feel. I was like that, but that's the worst thing you can do because you're gonna teach your child that there is something wrong, and that's the worst because it's gonna kill your child's confidence. And he is, you
I
know,
I agree with your husband, and even though it may make these kids have to explain or answer questions from other kids or even other adults a little earlier because it gets noticed and people, especially kids, might say something. But, you can just say, I was born this way. And if my family and I decide to, we can have a surgery to make the ear grow bigger. And or if you don't want that surgery, you don't have to. But it's nice I can always sort of tell the kids that don't hide it seem to have more confidence. You know what I mean?
he does.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know. I just wanted, this is so special to me to be here with my son, and I know this. I'm gonna translate this interview to Spanish, put subtitles because this is gonna be a testimony for many Latina moms out there in Mexico, in Argentina, in Bolivia. They follow me, and this is gonna give them that hope. And in the future, who knows, maybe through your oracles, because
yeah.
you're still going to Latin
Yeah.
America, right?
No, we still have miracles from all over the world. We've
Oh,
got
imagine that.
Canada, Europe, South America, Central America, Mexico. We have one coming from Mexico next week or the week after. So we're still keeping our miracles and helping those children.
And I know this interview, when they see the interview, when they can read, everything, they understand that is the way you raise the kid first, and also the
Yeah.
blessing of have a person like you with your gift, because you're a gifted person. I mean, with your before you had 3D, you designed the whole ear by hand. It was like a sculpture, and you did his year, and I think thanks to you and God that put you in our lives, we were able to have him, go to Los Angeles and have that surgery, and he has a pretty normal life. He's a great kid. I love him to the moon and back. He's my pride and joy, and I know he's a testimony for many kids in the future that had Microtia, especially in Latin America. They're gonna see him. The moms are gonna see my
Yeah.
son, and they're gonna see, wow, I don't need to be afraid. My kid is gonna be okay, and that's what I wanted him to be in this interview, because
Uh,
now he's gonna be 13, and he understand that what he had was such a blessing,
well,
and
I'll tell you, I work. This is the only type of surgery I do is just ear reconstruction. So I see and have seen over these many years thousands and thousands of kids with microtia and oral atresia, and I will tell you, there is just something I feel very strongly, just something very special about these kids. They are very compassionate and empathetic, and I feel that they just somehow understand more about things than you would expect for their ages, perhaps. And it's such a wonderful. We always talk, or we always focus on the downside or the troubles or the problems of being born with a condition like microtia, but I tend to there's been so many beautiful things in these families I've gotten to know, and these children come, from all over the world, but so many of them accomplishing so many great things, and it's just such good people, growing up into these, older kids and such, that I just feel strongly there's just a very special thing, a special thread, that connects all these kids together. And, the fact that you are out and publicizing about it and educating about it, continues that thread of reaching one person over here and one person over here. And then they have this bond or this connection, having this rare disease, in both families. And so we see that so much in Iracles and even in my practice generally. All these families just always want to help other families that are starting to go through it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And that's why I want him, to talk and to participate, because other kids are going to see that, it's okay. It's not their fault. It's just happened. Like it just happened.
It's true. It's true. That's the fun thing at the conferences is, everywhere you look, there's someone with Microtia. Everywhere you look, dozens and dozens and dozens of other people that were born just exactly like you. So, from little babies to, teenagers like Roman, it really makes for such a fun, positive, happy get together where a lot of information is shared and a lot of good learning takes place.
Is there anything you want to tell Dr. Lewin, Muñeco?
Thank you.
Oh,
for everything.
You're so welcome. I hope we continue these in the future. 15 years, 20 years, 25 years.
So.
25 years.
I always tell him that God put him here with a mission. That he's here with a mission. He was born with a purpose, and I think the purpose is to give hope to many kids that had the condition, and many moms like me that they were scared. I was very scared when I first saw my baby and I saw that he had the ear. I was terrified. But I think over the years, I seen that he's been such a joy. And I tell them that when they call me, I said, you're scared right now and it's okay, but you're gonna see that it's not as bad. It's not as bad as it looks like it, and your kid is gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay.
100% agree. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you guys and for allowing me to watch grow up.
Thank you, Dr. Lewin. Have a wonderful day, and we'll
be in touch. All right, take care, Roman.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
doctor.
Of course. Bye-bye.